Officials say the actor's body had been found by the building manager, who said he entered the apartment and found the body after a friend reported...
On November 16th, 1981, people around the world reacted with shock and disbelief. Actor, conservationist, father and friend, he had been found dead in his Santa Monica apartment. It was reported he'd been drinking, that he had died where he'd fallen days earlier. The details were in the coroner's report. But this is how he would be most remembered. For more than 40 years, in over 65 motion pictures, no matter what the role, his was the performance that rang true. What counted was not the way he died, but how he had lived. His name was William Holden. And in his own way, he fulfilled the promise of his first film. He was the Golden Boy.
He had an honesty that worked for him. And it wasn't something that he was playing.
You believed him, you see. If Bill said a line, it could be, you believed him.
He didn't seem full of himself the way a lot of actors tend to get when they're successful.
He was not at all sure that this was going to last, this movie business, you know. And I don't know that he ever was really convinced that he had arrived.
He was a rare bird. You don't find men, certainly men actors. You don't find many. In fact, I don't know of any others. Like Bill Holden.
Mr. Moody.
Don't you knock when you walk in an office?
Sorry, I forgot if you want out.
The minute that kid walked in, I felt the right feeling. And I hope to God that when he opened his mouth, he has a good voice. And he opened his mouth, and he did have a good voice. And he was exuberant. He was just all over the place. He couldn't sit still. We put him under contract even before a test was made.
That test was seen by studio heads at Columbia Pictures, who immediately negotiated for half of Bill's contract. When this 21-year-old newcomer was given the leading role in a major motion picture, the possibility of instant success seemed suddenly within reach. The film was Golden Boy. He had to get to the studio early each morning to have his hair darkened and curled. There were lessons in holding a violin and bow. And he had to train intensively for the movie's fight scenes. But nothing lessened Bill's determination to prove himself.
Papa, I want to own things and to give things. Everything you want from breakfast until you turn out the light.
He would drop into my office during the filming of the picture if he had a half a day off. And we got to talking about how it was going, and all he could talk about was Barbara Stanwyck. He said she was the most wonderful, she was a saint as far as he was concerned. The help she was to him.
I saw your future in big electric lights. It's a pity never to see you in action again. Used to be a thrill.
Lorna, you're not kidding me, are you? You're like music to me, Lorna. Rich, soft music that goes on in my head and heart for days and nights with a crazy tempo that seems to beat out...
Beat out what, Joe?
Your name, Lorna. Always Lorna, Lorna.
Missy, he called her. And he was indeed her golden boy.
William Franklin Beadle Jr. was born on April 17, 1918, in O'Fallon, Illinois, a small rural town not far from St. Louis. He was the oldest of 3 sons.
His parents were simple, nice people with a very strict upbringing. My grandfather was in the Olympics, I do believe, at one time. And so he decided that all his boys would have to do gymnastics like he did. My grandfather was a chemist, and he had his own laboratory. It was a very modest situation, and I think probably coming out to Pasadena must have been quite a change. And so he was very strict with them because he wanted them to keep the values that he had instilled in them. Mary Beadle, his mother, was a schoolmarm, if you wish, and quite religious. The family was very tied together. The love was there, the unity was there, and the boys didn't forget that.
Bill had a smile that lit up his whole face, and he had a sense of humor that was just delightful. He was a great gymnast. He could walk on his hands, for instance, very easily across a room, or in some cases he stood on a bridge abutment and scared us all to death. Bill sang in the choir at the Aniata Episcopal Church, I believe it was. He was very polite and careful and kind to older people, but he could turn around and be a wild man if he chose to. He was a gregarious loner. That's the best way I can express it. He was not a particularly good student, but he was driven to perform.
At South Pasadena High School, Bill Beadle excelled in gymnastics. He was an eager participant in the school's drama productions. He sang in the boys' glee club. And there were also other ways Bill got the attention he craved.
He used to ride his motorcycle down the street standing on his hands on the handlebars, and that always gave everybody a little thrill.
According to my grandmother, he always was trying to get the other brothers to do something crazy. What compelled him to be that way? I don't know. Maybe he had to prove his manhood, to see a challenge and go for it.
We were products of the Depression era in those days, and while my family had some money, Bill's family was somewhat stretched, and he was never quite accepted into the Pasadena social scene, which was a little rigid and stuffy. And I went to a lot of parties as a late teenager that he wasn't invited to in Pasadena. And I think that hurt him a lot.
To please his parents, who hoped he'd enter his father's business, Bill took chemistry courses at Pasadena Junior College. Then, a friend suggested he join the Pasadena Community Playhouse. In his very first play, he came to the attention of the head of new talent at Paramount Pictures.
The minute he was under contract, we took him down to the publicity department, and Terry said, "We'll have to do something about your name." The telephone rang on Terry's desk. He picked the phone up, talked with whoever he was talking to, and said, "Fine, good to hear from you." Hung up, and all of a sudden he said, "That's the next editor I used to work for, Bill Holden." He said, "Your name is Bill Holden from now on."
There is approximately 30 miles between Hollywood and Pasadena. I think the main concern of my father's mother, Mary Beadle, is that Hollywood had all sorts of unusual reputations. The stories of the great parties or potential orgies and things like this that probably concerned her a great deal. So there was some conflict there.
In spite of Mary Beadle's concerns, Hollywood gave William Holden Golden Boy and the start of a memorable career. However, not everyone at Paramount considered Bill a strong contender. The director of his second picture, Invisible Stripes, accepted Bill only as a last resort. But in 1940, Bill was loaned out to independent producer Sol Lesser. The film was Our Town.
Good morning, everybody. Only 4 more hours to live.
I didn't know what to expect with a William Holden I had never heard of before, and we were both very young and starting. And I thought, oh my, I've done the play on Broadway for 9 or 10 months and got used to the young man who was doing it. And I wondered what it was going to be like.
What do you think, Emily? We might work out a kind of telegraph from your window to mine, and you give me a hit every once in a while on one of those algebra problems.
Well,
Oh, I don't mean the answers, Emily. Of course not. I mean, just some little hint.
the work was the important thing to Bill, and certainly to me, too. And we rehearsed on our own. when the heavy scenes were coming up, the ones that looked so easy to do.
I think once you've found a person you're very fond of, a person who's fond of you too, likes you well enough to be interested in your character, I think that's just as important as college is. And
it had to seem as if the audience were looking in on a private conversation between a girl and a boy who were falling in love.
Emily?
Yes, George?
Emily, if I do improve and make a big change, would you be... I mean, could you be...
I am now. I always have been.
So I guess this is a pretty important talk we've been having.
Bill was extraordinary. So easy, so comfortable. Oh, it was a very special time in my life.
You know, where he was the ideal, the ultimate boy next door. He was sort of a typical California, you know, good-looking, well-set-up young man. And good-humored, bright. He fulfilled the appellation of Smiling Jim.
And Smiling Jim roles were what Paramount and Columbia invariably offered Bill.
Time!
Danny. Hey, Danny, you all right?
Oh.
When I was put under contract to Columbia, Bill was put under contract at that same time, and Mr. Cohen, the president of Columbia Studios. Bill, he said, gives me any trouble, why, you'll do the job. If you give me any trouble, Bill will do the job. So he tried to use us to compete.
Hey, you feel all right? Yeah. That $50 makes everything all right. Danny? Yeah. We haven't got that $50. What? Well, I bet it on Dutch Henry. You what? You what?
But we didn't compete. The more they tried to make us compete, the more closer we became as friends.
We gotta separate. Separate? Yeah, it's our only chance. I'll catch up with you someday. Texas ain't that big. Well, you ain't much to look at, but I'm sure gonna miss you. I ain't forgetting you either. Good luck, fella. Take care of yourself, Danny.
I don't think either Bill or I really knew how to act. All we knew how to do was be ourselves. Yeah, maybe that's good.
He did not plunge headlong into the Hollywood society, end quote. But at the same time, he didn't want to completely shut himself off, you know, from the advantages, the social advantages that it had, and the advantages that his popularity afforded him. Because after all, you know, he was a good, handsome, healthy young man.
Harry Cohen found out that Bill and I were getting into a little bit of trouble that we shouldn't get into with certain ladies. And so Harry went up to the place called the Chateau Marmont up on Sunset Boulevard there, and he rented, Columbia Studios that is, rented one of the penthouse, the nice one, suite. And he called Bill and I in, and he said, now, if you two guys are going to get into trouble, I want to have some control over it. So when you decide to get into trouble, use the apartment at the Marmont. Here's the keys. So Bill and I used the apartment.
I adored that young man. I think everybody who ever worked with Bill early on, every young lady fell in love with him. Well, I did too. I just thought he was too much, till I found out he was engaged.
Artis Ankerson was her name, which eventually became Brenda Marshall. And for a while there, she was going great guns. She and Bill met, they got married, and then one night, my wife and I went out to visit them, And the picture business disappeared that night. It never showed in their home. They never did talked about acting or anything. It was just a plain, ordinary suburban home, and they were very much in love with each other.
At the studios, Bill continued to find himself neatly pigeonholed. The roles came and went. William Holden was always the good-looking leading man, never to be taken too seriously.
He, I think, wanted to graduate from his original image, or what he perceived as his original image, and do something of great importance.
Battling Columbia's Harry Cohn for those more important parts, Bill was repeatedly told to wait until he had more character lines. Those lines were destined to appear all too soon, hastened by the entry of the United States into World War II. Bill Holden became the first married star to enlist. He used his real name, William F. Beadle, Jr. While he was in the service, artists had their first son, Peter Westfield. Bill had already adopted Virginia, Ardis's daughter by her first marriage. 3 years later, there would be a second son, Scott. In January 1944, Bill was grieved to learn of the death in action of his younger brother. Bob Beadle's plane had been downed over the South Pacific. By the war's end, Bill Holden had his character lines, but Paramount and Columbia put him straight back into the old Smiling Jim roles. One picture, however, stood above the others. It was made by Bill on loan out to RKO. Rachel and the Stranger. Co-starring were Loretta Young and Robert Mitchum.
Then that's how you got bound in the service for your pa's debts.
Yeah, that's right.
Never knew that about you. I reckon I never asked. You can play any time you feel like it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Harvey.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way.
I'll see the boy gets music lessons, too, if you want.
May as well give you a hand.
Loretta thought that it was sort of parallel to the story of Rachel in the Bible. And I suppose she possibly thought that we were a little less reverent than we might be.
I've been 10 years in the deep woods, Jim. I never ordered anybody off my property.
You ain't ordering me off, Davy. I'm leaving of my own accord, but not without Rachel. I offered to buy you out fair and square.
Bill and I had strong suspicions that it was a comedy. We played it for comedy. We'd have a comedy fight in the picture.
Horse! I can't!
Bill had a sense of merriment with him all the time. And he sort of personified the straightforward American, fun-loving, fair, just, and courageous.
Everything was sort of magic around the house at that time. And he was the first child, actually, in the family. If there was a new bicycle, he was the first one on it. If there was a go-kart, or if there was anything he could get involved with, he was the first one to try it out. He was the first one to hurt himself, shall we say. And then he'd come back and explain to us how to do things. And our childhood with him was quite special.
He was very much a family man then. He lived in Encino. He on Saturday nights, he went out and got drunk with the gang.
He was always quite amusing when he was somewhat inebriated. He was quite funny, and then other people would see tragedy in it, and we would see a very warm human being coming out. He wasn't at all a mean drunk.
Bill's career seemed to have reached a comfortable plateau. In later years, he described what it took to make it suddenly soar.
I wasn't there for this, but I think it was Cliff Robertson that went to him and he said, you know, Bill, I'm starting in the business, and what do you suggest? How can what can I do? How can I be better? How can I want to be a star, you know? And Bill said, well, you got to have it. And Cliff Robertson said, it? What is it? And Bill said, it is Sunset Boulevard.
Gloria Swanson, of course, was a brilliant stroke of genius on the part of Billy Wilder. Now, Bill Holden was a young man doing kind of light, romantic comedies, and this was a complete risk for Paramount to take a chance on this young actor.
I had some trouble with my car, a flat tire. I pulled into your garage until I could get a spare. I thought this was an empty house.
It is not. Get out.
You're Norma Desmond. Used to be in silent pictures, used to be big.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
But what happened was wonderful and fascinating. Bill emerged as a man of many colors.
All I ask is for you to be a little patient and a little kind.
Norma, I haven't done anything.
Of course you haven't. I wouldn't let you.
So now he was showing us that he could portray weakness and dishonesty, a little bit of depravity, sadness, lostness.
Now get your things together and let's get out of here.
All my things? All my 18 suits, and all my custom-made shoes, and the 6 dozen shirts, and the cufflinks, and the platinum keychains, and the cigarette cases?
Come on, Joe.
Come on, where? Back to a one-room apartment I can't pay for? Back to a story that may sell and very possibly will not?
But something happened to him after Sunset Boulevard. He became an honest-to-goodness, real star.
See? You didn't believe me. Now I suppose you don't think I have the courage.
Oh, sure, if it would make a good scene.
You don't care, do you? But hundreds of thousands of people will care.
Oh, wake up, Norma. You'd be killing yourself to an empty house. The audience left 20 years ago. Now face it.
That's a lie. They still want me.
And something more important happened to him. He caught the attention of Billy Wilder, and he became a true friend of Billy's. And Billy saw that there was an actor here that had depth and many facets.
Born Yesterday, directed by George Cukor, was released in 1950, the same year as Sunset Boulevard.
Do what I'm telling you!
Judy Holliday's performance won her an Academy Award. But reviewers also hailed the performance of William Holden.
What a first-rate comedian he was, a light comedian. Not a farceur, but a brilliant light comedian. And that's something that wasn't immediately apparent about him.
What's he paying you?
$200 a week.
Sucker, you could have got more. He's got plenty.
Oh, I'd have done it for free. I would.
Why?
Well, this isn't work. I like it.
He thinks I'm too stupid, huh?
No.
He's right, I'm stupid and I like it.
You know what the stupidest thing on earth is? An infant.
What are you going against babies all of a sudden?
Nothing. I got nothing against a brain that's 3 weeks old and empty. But after it hangs around for 30 years and hasn't absorbed anything, I begin to wonder about it.
What makes you think I'm 30?
I didn't mean you.
Oh, yes, you did.
I swear.
You certainly know how to get me sore.
I'm sorry.
30? Do I look 30 to you?
No.
Well, what'd you say it for?
I don't know. How old are you?
29.
In 1953, Billy Wilder revealed an entirely new side of William Holden when he directed him in Stalag 17.
What's that crack supposed to mean?
They're lying dead out there in the mud, and I'm trying to find out how come.
I'll tell you how come. Because you, our security officer, said it'd be safe, and you, the barracks chief, gave him the green light. That's how come. What are you guys trying to prove, anyway? Cutting trapdoors, digging... Listen, Seth, you listen to me!
He could play someone who was a little antisocial or a scoundrel and get away with it because he kept playing parts of who we'd all like to be.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
No, I don't sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Maybe just one word? Kaput? Because you're kaput, Price.
Will you get this guy out of my hair so I can go?
Go where? To the commandant's office and tell him where Dunbar is?
Why, I'll kill you for that!
Shut up. Security officer, huh? Always screening everybody. Only who screens you? great American hero from Cleveland, Ohio, enlisted right after Pearl Harbor. When was Pearl Harbor, Price, or don't you know that?
December 7th, 41.
What time?
6 o'clock. I was having dinner.
6 o'clock in Berlin. They were having lunch in Cleveland.
For his performance in Stalag 17, Bill won the Academy Award. It was Hollywood's most significant acknowledgement. But the doubts remained.
He always had a sense of insecurity in that he'd wake up with, with the realization that the whole thing was one big joke. And, and he was not meant to be William Holden, a star, actor.
Bill was never comfortable being a movie star. And yet he didn't see himself doing anything else.
He, like a lot of us, he said, well, it's not like building a bridge, or it's not like, finding a cure for cancer. It's a sort of very ephemeral business. And there's nothing concrete in it.
It's a strange choice, actually, to make. And it's particularly different and difficult for a man because there's a certain narcissism that is involved in making movies and being an actor. It's a very odd pressure to put on a man. It demands a kind of vanity that is not natural.
And all throughout his life, I think everything was sort of a challenge to him, and he felt that just because he felt a certain way about something or not too secure about it was not enough reason not to go for it, not to try it.
A major acting challenge for Bill was the 1954 Executive Suite.
We had Louis Calhern, Paul Douglas, Freddie March, who played the key heavy in it, Barbara Stanwyck, of course, Nina Foch playing a very important part. Very, very major cast, and most of these people had come from the stage. I was wondering how Bill would fit in with these real pros, because he is really pretty well self-trained and learned his trade in films and doing films, and he fit right in perfectly.
If you want to stab a dead man, why don't you do it yourself instead of having someone else do it for you?
Get out of here.
Go on, sell out. Smash everything he lived for. That's what you want to do, isn't it? Pay him back for loving the company more than he could love you?
Will you get out of here?
He had a great range, and it came on through the film. Fortunately, we had a chance to build to this because we saved the boardroom shooting until the very end.
The KF line. Walter, your boys proud when they go out and sell this stuff? When they know the finish is going to crack, the veneer split off, and the legs
Price,
come
the
loose?
customer knows exactly what he's going to get.
This? This is what Treadway has come to mean. And what do you suppose the people think of us when they buy it? How do you suppose the men in the factories feel when they make it? What must they think of a management that's willing to stoop to selling this kind of junk in order to add a dime a year to the dividend? Do you know there are men at Pike Street who've refused to work on the KF line? Who've taken a $7.50 a week cut to get transferred to something else?
Well, after all, that's only part of our business. Eventually, we can cut down on the line.
We'll drop that line. And we'll never again ask a man to do anything that will poison his pride in himself or his work.
That same year, 1954,
And I guess that's my cue, people. I'm here. Good morning. Thank you for joining me this morning on Monday Movie Memories. There we go. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, I am live. I've been in a bit of a quandary over the weekend. My technical situation here has been disrupted by computer issues. So today and tomorrow may be my last shows for a while. Unfortunately, I may have to take my my computer into the Geek Squad and have them give it an overhaul. I hope not, but we shall see. Today is Monday Movie Memories on the morning show, and we are going to be talking about Brooke Shields this morning. Probably one of the most iconic female figures from the 70s and 80s, and by the end of the 80s she had really evolved into a unique woman. Later on this morning we are going to begin talking about Brooke Shields and her career in the 70s and 80s. Pardon my set this morning. I'm still trying to figure all this out. This is the curtain my wife and daughter got for me. So I thought that it would be nice to kind of bring you the morning show here with a little bit of class. Very little. We are going to discuss Brooke Shields this morning and pretty much just kind of gloss over her career during the 70s and 80s. We're not going to get too... I've only got about 7 or 8 pages here, so we're not going to get too crazy on this. At some point I'm going to have to readjust here so that we can accommodate Brooke hanging out here next to me. I'm pretty happy with the way the show is evolving this season. Unfortunately, when I tried to move stuff around from one computer to the other, one hard drive, everything on the hard drive disappeared. I tried it with a thumb drive and everything on the thumb drive disappeared, and now the thumb drive won't even be recognized by my computer. So I appear to be having some kind of plague, some kind of pox on my computer here. So I'm going to be taking the external hard drive in that is affected and see if they can salvage 10 years of family history. And after that, I'm just going to try to bring home another thumb drive this week and see if I can get my Wednesday show up and running. As of yet, my computer itself, my main live computer itself, has not been affected. I'm not losing data from it. So as long as I can get data shared between computers without bogging down both computers. So my next step is to try to cloud one file on my computer between computers. And then whatever I drop into one file gets synced to the other computer, same file. And I think if I can manage that, that will save my whole Wednesday show, because I create the show on one computer and then transfer it to the graphics computer, the computer that I use to listen to music, to play videos that I can experience with you. The video this morning, the pre-show video, William Holden, the Golden Boy, Part 1, and I enjoyed that. I watched that this morning with y'all as it was playing. And but I had to watch that on YouTube. Most of what I have programmed for the show is stuff that I can't really enjoy with you as it's broadcasting. I have to enjoy it as it comes through on YouTube, on my monitor, on my phone. So things are a little unusual technically. I'm not a geek. I don't understand most of what I do technically. I just pretend, and I can't pretend to be a tech wizard. So my show may get put on hold starting after the show tomorrow. I'm going to put on today's show, I'm going to put on tomorrow's show, and then hopefully I can figure it out between now and then how to get data shared between two computers without having to use a thumb drive. And then I'll be back in business, and as soon as I can get my hard drive salvaged, I can archive that along with the other hard drives that I have archived, and then worry about my computer. Now, if the unfortunate circumstances arise where I will not be able to continue the show the way that I wanted to do the show now, I may just stop. It's kind of a bummer to say that, but I may actually stop my YouTube work for a period of time, not just to retool technically, but to work on some other projects. I do have a couple of other projects with irons in the fire, and I would like to do something. If I can't do this here, then I'm going to jump into another project. And one of my projects is taking all of my inventory of old stereos and players and recorders and machinery and repairing it and getting it up to quality standards that I can deal with. And then taking all of the 8-track tapes and all the listening material that I have and making that worthy of listening, and create an inventory. And the most important project that I'd like to work on is of course my arcade. And if I can purchase one good machine to start, then I think it will create a snowball effect. And that's kind of what I need right now, is I need something good to happen and then grow. And my figuring is that if some things are awry and going wrong, not bad, but just wrong, than the way I want them to, then I should step back and use that as a signpost to tell me that maybe I should switch gears or change roads or something of that nature. So I'm trying not to look at this as, oh my god, this is a bummer, I can't do my show anymore, but I'm trying to look at it as more of a, let me turn my volume up here. Let's get something done, regardless of what we're doing. As long as it is on the, as long as it's on the docket, it's on the menu of things that need to be done, then yeah, I think we should probably just continue doing that. I'm trying to adjust my microphone in the right place so that I can bring Brooke Shields up in here when it's time. And I think that we are going to probably go to a break, do a little intermission at some point before we start Brooke Shields. And what I've done, it's Monday Movie Memories, so we have a theater setting here. You're probably in the back row because I don't see you there in the front row. And that's pretty cool. that is pretty cool. I also like that I'm able to bring you movie trailers and intermission stuff on this morning's show, as well as bring you images and videos of our topic person, our artist of the day. And sometimes, most of the time, it'll be an artist, an actor, actress, but it'll also be directors and producers and writers and studios, and we'll kind of just wing it. We're going to let this show happen organically. We'll let it happen the way it happens, and hopefully we'll have fun time traveling. I used to do a recorded video program called the Video Time Machine, and I did 2 seasons of that, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice if I could combine the Video Time Machine series and the morning show. And it turns out this is the way I've always wanted to do this show. I've always wanted to actually do Monday Movie Memories on Monday. I just could never figure out how technically to bring this all to you in the package that I wanted. So it's about 10 after here on the Pacific Coast, and we're gonna do a little bit of a what do you call it? A little bit of an intermission here. So don't go away. I'll be right back. So stick around. All right. Is that happening? I can't see it. I know you can probably hear it, but that's not happening. Oh, I see why. Because I seem to have added 2 of these things. For some reason, there's 2 of me there. And we've still got, is this it? Ah, there we are. Okay. So there's the break there. After I started having technical difficulties again on Saturday, I kind of threw my hands up in the air, finished off some things, and then just kind of walked away from it all. Last night I got back on for a few minutes to make sure that I had things loaded up. Obviously it wasn't loaded correctly. So we do have things ready to roll here. I think all I need to do is fade us out, kill the microphone, and go to an intermission. So we're going to do that, and in a few minutes I'll be back, and we'll start talking about Brooke Shields, America's most watched child. All right, folkses, I will see you in a bit, and don't go away. I'll be right back.
Is here. Now's the time for a bite of cheer. A tasty light where the price is right. Well, look at here, you'll dig this sight. The moment's handy for a piece of candy. Just name your brand, they're all so grand. Hey, what do you think of a nice cool drink? Or a big box filled with a popcorn thrill? Let your taste buds meet with an ice cream treat. Refresh yourselves, it's time to eat. So come on, folks, let's join the band as we all head for the refreshment stand.
A wooden ship burns at sea, and 2 young children are left alone on a tropical isle. The island is kind to them, and they learn to survive on instinct. But even paradise has its mysteries. One mystery lies on the forbidden side of the island. It is dark and sinister. The other mystery comes from within. A girl becoming a woman. A boy becoming a man. And when they discover desire, it's as natural as the sea itself and as powerful. director of Grease, Randall Kleiser, brings to the screen the sensual story of natural love, starring Brooke Shields and introducing Christopher Atkins. The Blue Lagoon.
Hi, folks. I'm Rico.
Oh, Nacho.
He's Peppy.
See?
You can find us at the concession stand in the lobby.
Along with all sorts of other tasty goodies.
See? Rico's Nachos, a refreshingly new and different snack discovery. Chock full of high-quality ingredients, crisp, fresh tortilla chips, covered with creamy aged cheddar cheese, topped off with zesty jalapeno pepper rings. Rico's Nachos, out of sight.
Remember, folks, we're the new star at the snack bar, Rico's Nachos, a new taste treat you can't beat.
See? Rico's Nachos, on sale at the snack bar now.
All right, people, I am back here in Elsinore Brothers Studio. This is the EBS network, the most watched network in my house. And there you go. So this morning we're going to be talking about Brooke Shields, one of my most favorite actresses when I was a kid growing up, and she really has come back a few times. She came back on TV, which was really, really cool. All right, let's get started with Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all of you lovers of big, bold, beautiful pop culture past. Today on our morning show, we are rolling back the clock to a time when the world was a little groovier, the jeans were a little tighter, and the television sets were humming with that warm tube glow magic. And right in the center of that glow, right in the middle of America's living rooms, magazine racks, movie theaters, and cultural debates, stood a girl who became a phenomenon before she could even spell a word. Her name, of course, Brooke Shields. Now, to understand Brooke Shields in the 1970s, you've got to picture an era. You've got to picture the era. This was a decade that loved extremes. On one side, you had the counterculture kids still hanging out from the late 60s, drifting through the streets with guitars, incense, and big ideas about peace and love. On the other side, you had disco balls spinning over mirrored dance floors, polyester suits, and other suits that a blind man could at 20 paces. And anyway, let me see. America was searching for something new, something shiny, something to talk about. Enter Brooke Shields, born in 1965 in Manhattan, a baby with big eyes, a big camera-ready face, and a mother who saw destiny in every angle of that tiny face. Terry Shields was not just a mom. She was one of those she was a one-woman production studio. She had the ambition of a Hollywood agent, the instincts of a seasoned publicist, and the determination of a stage mother who believed the world was waiting for her child. And in a way, she was right. Brooke began modeling at 11 months old. 11 months. Most kids are still figuring out how to stand up without toppling over. And here she was, already in front of a camera, already part of the machinery of American advertising. And the thing is, she was good at it. Even as a toddler, she had that rare, uncanny ability to look straight into a lens and make you feel like she was looking right at you. It was a gift, and Terry Shields knew it. As the 1970s rolled on, Brooke became a familiar face in print ads, catalogs, and commercials. But it wasn't just the modeling. It was the aura. It was the mystique, the sense that the kid was going to be something bigger than the usual cute child model who fades into the background. Once the next adorable face comes along, poof, gone. Brooke had presence. She had poise. She had a mother who was determined to push her into the spotlight with the force of a rocket launch. And then came 1978, the year that changed everything, the year Brooke Shields went from that pretty kid in the magazine to a national conversation. The film, of course, was Pretty Baby, directed by Louis Maillet. And if you were alive in the late 70s, you remember Shockwaves. This wasn't just a movie, it was a cultural earthquake. Brooke, at 12 years old, played Violet, a child living in a New Orleans brothel in 1917. The film was lush, atmospheric, beautifully shot, and deeply controversial. People debated on talk shows. They argued about it in newspapers. They wrote letters to the editor. They called radio stations. Was it art? Was it exploitation? Was it a masterpiece? Was it a scandal? The country could not decide. But one thing was certain: Brooke Shields had arrived. She wasn't just a child star. She was a symbol, a lightning rod, a conversation starter. Behind the scenes, Terry Shields defended the film fiercely. She said it was tasteful, historical, artistic. She said Brooke Shields was safe, protected, and fully aware of what she was doing. Critics praised Brooke's performance, noting her naturalism, her emotional depth, her uncanny ability to hold the screen. And audiences, well, audiences could not look away. By the end of the 1970s, Brooke Shields wasn't just famous, she was iconic. She was the face of the decade, wrestling with its own identity. And she was only getting started. I got a little bit of chills there talking about Brooke. I better pull this heater in. Sheesh. Is it just me, or did it get a little chilly up in here? Those are some great shots of Brooke Shields. She did have presence on the camera. No matter what she was doing, no matter how she was on camera, she was on camera. I loved her Calvin Klein commercials. We'll see a few Calvin Klein commercials on Tuesday, I believe, and we'll see some more stuff on Tuesday. In fact, we'll see some, because it's Newsday Tuesday, on Totally Television Tuesday, we're going to be looking at some of Brooke Shields' TV pieces, commercials, interviews. There are some great interviews of Brooke Shields that have been funneled into the studio here. So we're going to be able to see a little bit more of Brooke being Brooke. I love that. I love it when she's just super young and she's just so there, you know. We're going to probably go to a break in a few minutes and look at some more Brooke Shields movie trailers. I don't want to go rush this here too much, because wow, what a career. What a career. What does Brooke Shields mean to you from the 1970s and 80s? To me, it meant being a kid with adult eyes. And I saw a lot of stuff as a little kid that I should not have seen. I should not have seen most of what I saw growing up through the 70s. It wasn't until the 80s when I could decide what it is to see. And I chose to look at fun stuff, humorous stuff. But in the 70s, my father worked in a pornographic magazine in Hollywood, and I was exposed to a lot of pornography as a child. He would take me to work with him and just dump me in the middle of back issues of pornographic magazines. I was free to roam up and down the hallways and peek into doors where there were photo sessions happening. Very explicit, very graphic photo sessions. So it was really hard difficult. It was really difficult to become a child with so many adult things jammed into your head. So I had a connection to the things that Brooke Shields was doing on stage, or her characters were exposed to. I had a big connection to actors and actresses who, on stage, their characters were given too much reality to deal with. And that's kind of a bummer. I'll just keep bringing this. I'll just keep bringing this in. I'll keep bringing it in. There we go. Let's move it over a little bit there. I mean, I just don't want to push people's faces in it, but that's who I am. So there you go. There it is. I remember the first time I saw a Pretty Baby, and I was aghast. I was shocked. But then at the same time, I was thinking, yep, that's the way kids are treated. Yeah. Yeah, growing up me was really, really weird. I don't think that my siblings were exposed to half of what I was exposed to. My father used to take me everywhere and just kind of plop me down into the middle of whatever he was doing, whether it was a nude beach or some kind of weird video shoot that he was doing, or when I became a teenager, and then would involve me in more adult themed activities, like cocaine. I probably did more cocaine with my father than anyone, and that was kind of a bummer. Yeah. Anywho, Brooke. So I see these actors who on stage, their characters have to really go through a lot, and I find myself as a kid connected to many of those child actors, and you connect yourself to the actor, not so much the character. The character leads you to the actor, and then you kind of are drawn to that actor or actress. People like Jodie Foster and Brooke Shields and Jackie Earle Haley, and just a slew of these characters on film who just go through so much, you know. Yeah, they really find a place in my soul. So a little bit about the new format this morning. I don't want to completely run out of material here this morning, because all I've planned for this morning is talking about Brooke Shields, and then kind of my connection to what Brooke Shields of the 70s and 80s kind of did for me. So let's talk a little bit about the new format. As I've said this morning, I'm not certain that I'm going to be around for much more than another couple days if I can't figure out my computer issues. Now, chances are I'm just going to try to get this hard drive fixed and then never plug them into the computers again. And let it go at that, and so that I have my family photos archived. And I think once I get to that point, if I can manage transferring stuff from computer to computer via the cloud, then I think I'm good to go. And I think the only thing I will do is plug my computer, my external hard drive with my salvaged family photos, hopefully, and install that into the computer and cloud it, or have it saved on 2 different hard drives or 2 different external type drives, whatever I can get everything onto. I may want to do that twice so that I have a backup. If I do run into a lot of difficulty on my computer, then I may have to take my PC into the Geek Squad, and that is what is going to stop the show completely, because I won't continue season 5 going backwards. So we'll just have to hopefully get things taken care of technically here, and then just keep moving on, because I really want to keep doing this show, and it's unfortunate that I have no technical skills at all. Okay, so Monday Movie Memories is going to be like this. We're going to talk about movies. We're going to try to time travel to the movies and kind of be the movies for the day, for the morning. And I would love to hear from anyone out there who has any any thoughts on this whole Monday Movie Memories. Where is it? Oh, I didn't load it. It's been moved, and I didn't load up a new one. Ah, okay. That's not to worry. I moved a bunch of stuff around on the PC, and some files were dropped from my program, but not to worry. They'll be back. Subscribe to the channel now so that you can get more of this great entertainment as soon as I can bring it to you. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're either here or you're not. I'm not going to force the issue. There's a lull. Did you hear it? That lull? There was a lull in the show there. It was a quick one. It was a quick one. Quick little, tiny little bitty lull. But there you go. I kind of like my set. I kind of like the way the things look this morning. I wish I could get the wrinkles out of that curtain back there. What I might do is pleat it and just kind of bunch it up a little bit so that it's pleated and look more like a curtain. Because right now it just looks like a sheet hanging there. So there you go. Anywho, we're going to wait a little bit longer before we go to another break. I've got 4 breaks this morning, and I've got 4 segments to read. So we are going to kind of take it easy this morning. This whole show here is kind of, well, it's kind of in the making. We're still working out the bugs. I think what I'm going to be doing in future shows is talk about movies. And what we'll do is we'll take 4 intermission breaks and 4 segments of our main topic, and then I'll discuss 4 of our main topics, feature films or projects, right? So we'll do 4 segments, 4 breaks, and 4 films. And then let's do, because we can do 2 of these in an hour, right? So what do we need? 2 of each of these in an hour. That's great. So we need 4 of something else that we can discuss. Oh, maybe that's enough. Yeah, because we've got, I guess, I'm going to have to come up with 5 breaks, because we're going to need one at 20 after, one at 40 after, and then we'll need one at the top of the hour. And then again, 20 and 40. So that right there is 5. So I'm going to need 5 breaks next time. So let's do 5 breaks. We'll discuss 4 films, because we'll do the 4 segments. And 4 of something else. What else do we want to discuss when we're discussing an actor or actress or studio or something of that nature? I do not know. We'll have to leave that up in the air. And this is for next week, next Monday. And I'm just about ready to figure out how to do each following week's show. So Monday Movie Memories for next week, I will try to complete that show by the end of this morning, hoping that we will have a show next week. I'm pretty confident that the issues I'm having with the hard drives won't affect the show as of yet. And if I can just share one particular file between computers, I think that right there is going to boom, solve my Wednesday show issues. So I'm feeling okay about the show continuing. I'm not feeling great about the whole hard drive issue. If all I can save off of the one hard drive that was affected is my family photos, that's okay, but I'm still gonna be losing a lot of data, and I'm unsure what that data is. I just know that 10 years of family photos are on the one hard drive that was corrupted. So if we can deal with that, that's the big yay. Everything else after that, it can be handled. If I don't know that I'm missing it, I won't know. I think there are some Grateful Dead videos on there that have already been loaded to the channel. I don't think I'm going to be using those videos anymore. I think I'm just going to be using just tracks. There's music for the radio program. And then, because I do have more memory on my graphics computer, I may just create those radio programs on that computer rather than try to transfer them. I like working on this one. I can do the same stuff on that computer. So that may be another way to solve this whole getting the show on 2 computers. Anywho, I'm pretty confident that the shows are going to continue. I just want you to be prepared for me to just be gone one day. Where'd he go? I don't know. What happened? Oh, stupid computers. Because, like I stated, I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to continue moving forward on season 5, but the show to go back and revert to a previous season in its feel, in its show here. So, yeah, wish me luck. I need luck. Also, if that's the case and I have to walk away from this, I'm just going to throw myself into other projects, so that when I come back with this, I can say, here's my arcade, you know, or here's my roadside store that I've created to earn money for the arcade, which is a possibility. If I can come up with some means of gathering funds for creating an arcade, I will. If I can come up with one video arcade machine, full size, a good game for a few $1,000s, I'm going to pick it up. And then from there, see if I can just snowball that into more and more and more. I don't want to put a couple of games in somebody's store or restaurant or bar and then not be there all the time to make sure that it's taken care of correctly, right? Especially in a bar. I don't want drunk people using my machines. If I have an arcade, it's going to be a non-alcoholic. It's going to be an arcade. It's going to be for kids to hang out. So, yeah, and I don't want to give up the idea to somebody else. Oh, well, geez, why don't we just buy a couple of machines and fuck this guy? So, there you go. All right, so it's just about time for me to take a break. And then, sheesh, we've got a lot of time to kill this morning. We really do. Maybe we'll wait another 5 minutes, because if we go too soon, crap, we won't have any breaks for the second hour, right? So I'm going to take a break at 1:15, and then we'll take another break at 1:15, and then another break at 1:15, and then we've got 30 minutes in between, 25, 30 minutes in between. Something like that. I think that's the best we can do this morning, until we figure out how to bring some more stuff into the show. I probably should have given us something about 4 films that we saw trailers for. So we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. Eventually, we will get there. Whew. I'm gonna get this heater closer to me because I'm freezing. You know what? I am going to grab, if you don't mind me getting up here, I'm going to grab my sweater. So there you go. That's better. That is better. Okay, here we go. I am back. Back this morning on Monday Movie Memories. Here, sweatered and warm. Cornelius there in my sweater. Cornelius. Okay. I can't wait to take a break, actually. I need a break. I got up this morning and at 2 and made sure that the timer was set on the coffee machine. And of course I get up at 4, 10 to 4, and there's no coffee. Apparently I did something wrong, and it didn't start by itself this morning. So I was kind of bummed. It should have started at 3:40 this morning, and it did not. So I had to make coffee, which means I didn't get to drink my whole cup this morning because I lost 10 minutes while it was brewing. And that's a bummer. That is a big bummer. So I'm kind of, I have coffee lack this morning. Totally. So, yeah, man. We're going to go away for a little while. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the Calvin Klein years. When a teenager shook America, right? And it's just a little 4-part monologue that I put together so that we got something to talk about. But I'm more than happy to share your experiences here on the show, and what that era and the Brooke Shields phenomenon meant to you. So bring it on, babies. Let's talk about it, kiddos. Yeah, baby. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm trying not to crank up the microphone or put it too far in my face, but there you go. If anyone checks in this morning, go ahead and let me know how you're hearing me out there in the world. I don't have the microphone straight at my face, so there's that. I really am kind of juxtaposed between stopping the show and working on projects, and I just don't know. I don't know. So I'm just going to let it happen. Whatever happens, happens. That's it. Yep. Totally Television Tuesdays is a really fun show. It takes a lot of work. I have to research 14 news items. I have to create the slideshow to hang next to me. I have to create the copy to read, which is about a page worth of material, about a page monologue on each news item. And then I have to print out all of those news items and install those 14 videos into the program, and that's kind of a lot. And then I have to create, what is it, 8 to 10 commercial breaks, which each commercial break probably takes me, I don't know, 10 minutes on average to create. Sometimes less. If I just grab a few things and bop them together and save it out, it takes me, 5 minutes. If I have to take a giant, like 20-minute block of commercials and go through and just grab the good commercial chunks and get rid of the rest and then edit that into my commercial break, it takes about 10 minutes. So that's a couple of hours at the least. That's a couple of hours worth of work. So I'm trying to get a schedule so that it's like, okay, here's my topic. Let's do the research. Here is the monologue. Here are the images. Let's take those images from that artist and create a slideshow. Okay, now let's find the 4 movie trailers that we want to use, or 5 now. Let's find 5 movie trailers and turn them into theatrical intermission breaks, right? Now we're going to research and create monologues for 4 films as well and print all of this out so that I have numbered segments with numbered breaks and whatnot. Now if I have to make a commercial break for Tuesday, there are 8 to 10 commercial breaks, right, on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays we have about a page worth of monologue per news item, and we stay pretty busy getting through them all. On Thursday we have one major topic and then some other little peripheral things going on. Wednesday's all music. Wednesday is pretty much, I pick out, 10 songs, and I create 5 breaks from the show with 2 songs each and about 3 or 4 minutes of commercials. So that's about 10 minutes worth of a song commercial segment. And I've decided now that we're going to do about 5 or 10 minutes on the show, and then we're going to go to a break, and the break will have a song. So we'll introduce a song, and then it'll have commercials or some kind of news or something, usually having to do with the topic artist of the day, the DJ or whatnot. This week is Wolfman Jack that we're talking about. And then we'll go out of the commercials and into another song, and then we'll come back from that song, and I'll talk about that little song for a few minutes, and then we'll do another piece on our topic DJ for the day, and we'll go back and forth like that. Sometimes we'll talk about the DJ, our topic of the day, and sometimes we will talk about something different. we're going to start a segment called Weird News, and we're going to do Weird News on Wednesdays as a kind of a Wednesdays segment. What else are we going to do on Old Time Radio? We're going to do Grateful Dedications, and we are going to bring guests' dedications on in the first hour, and then in the second hour, by the end of the show, I'm going to do a Grateful Dedication where I will have found that music that they requested and put it on my computer for usage, so that we're playing that. So yeah, that's going to work out great. So we'll have some new stuff popping up on the radio, Weird News and Grateful Dedications, as well as the topic story, the story of the day, which will be the DJ or the radio station or whatever. Thursdays is one main topic and a couple of little things. Sometimes I'll just bring an item here and discuss the best way to take care of it. Right. Eventually we'll get a letter bag thing going, and we'll read mail comments from people. At some point, what I would love to do would be able to get a P.O. box for this, and be able to put a P.O. box, and send your cards and letters and stuff to this address. And that would be really cool. That would be neat. That would be fun. Yeah. So yeah, I've decided to go to the top of the hour and then the bottom of the hour, because when I come back, we're going to read another part, and then we'll sit and we'll discuss and we'll talk, and then we'll come back from the last. Well, I don't know. We've got, 3 breaks left. So I guess we can go to a break before the top of the hour, because we are going to be left with 2 more breaks, I believe. So what I should do is have this one here, and we're going to mark down 1 because we've done 1 break. And then that way I can keep track of it, and I'll know where exactly we're at. So I don't play I've done that before, play the same break. At least start the repeat of a commercial break. So I'm getting better at this. I'm getting a little better. It ain't perfect, but it's better. All right, we are going to go to an intermission, a little break, so you guys can get a snack. At some point, I'll probably heat up my coffee and finish drinking it this morning, because I did not get to do it before the show. Anywho, let's do that. Let's take a break, and then when we come back, we will discuss part 2 of Brooke Shields, and then we'll have 3 parts and 2 commercial breaks in the last hour. Yeah, I need to get some more content for this particular show, the morning show. So that's good. It's good to learn. It's good to learn. Yeah, we should be discussing 4 of her films this morning as well. You live, you learn. All right, people, I'm going to go to a commercial break. Stay tuned. It's not a commercial break; it's an intermission. So time to run to the Little Johnny, or run to the snack bar, and what have you. So I'll be back in a few minutes. All right? Okay.
Good evening. It's intermission time. Our service is friendly and quick. You'll find hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza, your favorite candies, hot and cold beverages, and other delicious snacks. So add to your fun of watching the movie. Visit our refreshment stand right now. We're glad to have you with us tonight. We hope you'll come to see us often. It's great to get out to the movies. We're just 3 minutes away from the start of our next feature. Still time to visit our refreshment stand.
It's 2 minutes till showtime.
All aboard, the snack bar special for Coca-Cola, peanuts, hot dogs, ice cream, candy. That's the snack bar special for Coca-Cola, peanuts, hot dogs.
Whatever your choice from the snack bar, things go better with Coke.
We're now just 1 minute away from the beginning of our next feature. For your convenience, our refreshment stand will remain open after the feature begins, so you still have time to add to the fun of watching the movie. Before we begin our next feature, we'd like to remind you to replace your speaker before leaving the theater. If it is accidentally damaged, please notify someone at the refreshment stand. Again, thank you for coming out to the drive-in tonight. As you leave, please drive carefully and come back soon.
And I am back. I hope you enjoyed that. I thought we had some Brooke Shields in that break, but we did not. All right, let's get started with part 2, the Calvin Klein years. If the 1970s introduced Brooke Shields to the world, the early 80s turned her into a cultural supernova. And nothing, I mean nothing, did that more explosively than a pair of jeans. Picture it. 1980, the disco era is fading. MTV is about to be born. And America is shifting into a new decade with big hair, big dreams, and an even bigger advertising budget. Pardon me. And right in the middle of this transition comes a commercial that stops the country in its tracks. I'm not talking about the Apple. That was later. A teenager, Brooke Shields, sits in a studio wearing a pair of impossibly tight Calvin Klein jeans. The camera moves in. The lighting is soft but dramatic. The music is minimal. And then she says the line that will go down in advertising history. You want to know what comes between me and my Calvin Kleins? Nothing. Boom, shockwaves. You'll see that commercial tomorrow, I believe, on Totally Television Tuesday. This wasn't just an ad. This was a cultural event. It was provocative, it was bold, it was taboo, and it was absolutely everywhere. Some networks refused to air it. Some parents were outraged, and critics called it brilliant. Others called it irresponsible. But everyone was talking about it, and that was the point. Calvin Klein wasn't selling jeans, he was selling controversy. He was selling attitude. He was selling the idea that fashion could be dangerous, sexy, rebellious. And Brooke Shields, with her cool, confident stare and her effortless charisma, was the perfect face for it. Behind the scenes, the campaign was meticulously crafted. The poses, the lighting, the tone, it was all designed to walk the razor's edge between innocence and seduction. And Brooke, still in her mid-teens, handled it with a professionalism far beyond her years. She knew how to command the camera. She knew how to hold the moment. She knew how to make people feel something. The ads became a national obsession and were parodied on late night TV. They were discussed in classrooms. They were analyzed in magazines, and they turned Brooke Shields into one of the highest paid teens in modeling history in the world at that time. But more than that, they made her a symbol of the 1980s, a decade that loved glamour, excess, and spectacle, a decade that wasn't afraid to push boundaries, a decade that wanted its stars big and bold and unforgettable. And Brooke Shields was all of that and more. She was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Go see Cal, go see Cal, go see Cal. It's my Cal Worthington and his dog Spot. Totally. Okay, people. Brooke Shields, Calvin Klein's. I remember seeing those commercials on TV, on MTV, all over the place. There was a whole campaign of Calvin Klein commercials. And that and the fact that she was always in the theater. Her movies just kept popping up. She rarely did TV except for commercials. Rarely. When you did see her on TV, it was usually an interview. She did a lot of interviews, talk shows, and she would come on and she'd be herself. And that was so refreshing. So you see this girl, this bigger-than-life girl, come on TV on a talk show, and she'd be like the girl that you go to school with. And that was pretty cool. And she kept herself pretty grounded. She did a lot to get herself out there and seen, but she did keep herself pretty grounded. She stayed in regular school and went to school with regular kids. She would take her girlfriends with her to work on projects. So she always had a friend around to keep her grounded. Yeah, she was pretty cool. Pretty cool kid for back then. You know, she didn't let the Hollywood thing get to her. Speaking of the Hollywood thing getting to an actor or actress, on this morning's show, we had William Holden's The Golden Boy, part one of a documentary on William Holden, made, I think, the year after he died, kind of a retrospect on his career. And it's a really, really classic telling of William Holden's career through many of his peers Robert Mitchum and Glenn Ford and female actresses of his era. But we're going to finish that up. I think I've got it scheduled to finish up Thursday morning on the pre-show on Thursday morning. I think tomorrow we're doing some news in the morning. And news scene, I think, is what we're doing on Tuesdays. If I can find a news scene, we're going to do it. I'm trying to find local school news broadcast stuff, and sometimes it'll be college stuff, sometimes university stuff, sometimes high school and junior high stuff, and kind of bring you the low budget versions of news programs from my day. And then Wednesday morning's pre-show is going to be, I believe it's an episode of X-1, one of my favorite episodes of X-1. And because using more of my videos created of old-time radio shows, using more of those would cause me to plug my external hard drive back into my computer, and I refuse to do that at this point until I get the computer checked out. So what I'll probably do is I'll set up a graphic of a radio and or something suited to be behind glass in the newsroom, the studio booth for the radio show. So I'll figure out some kind of cool graphic for that, for listening to an old radio show, and then I'll just bring you the raw audio without creating a video or using one of my old videos. And I think the radio program is going to be easily put together that way, just using raw audio and raw images. Now the fun part about the radio show is because the image you see, like this theater screen here, the image you see is that of a radio booth from outside the radio booth looking through the glass. So, and outside that radio booth there's a frame on the wall which allows me to install photos, images of the artists who are singing, and the image of the topic of the day. I can put that DJ or whatnot into that frame. Weird news, I can put the images of the topic, weird news topic images, so I can use that frame as kind of a secondary expression of the radio program. I see that it looks like we have a flower on the wall hanging out. In a regular has arrived this morning, piece this morning. I'm still kind of figuring out this whole morning show thing for Mondays. So bear with me as I kind of hem and haw my way through this morning's second hour. I hope you can hear me okay. In the back row there, way out there in the back row. I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can't, because I'll have the booth turn up the projectionist turn up the sound. I wish I could get it to flicker, right? I'm going to have to work on getting some overlays that will give me filters, I think is what they're called, filters, overlay filters, that give the appearance of something else going on there. Also, I have effects on my camera, and I may set that camera up. I thought about doing a sepia setting on the camera, but it seemed a little too old-fashioned, but it might work well with something like this, the morning program, in the theater here. So maybe next week we're going to try that out. We're going to try out the different settings on my cameras in lieu of having overlays here. So one thing I forgot to do this morning is bring up the Brooke Shields graphic. So I'll probably slide back over here out of the way so that I can bring Brooke back in when we come back from a break. And we will be taking a break shortly. I'm sure in this break that we have some Brooke Shields this morning. I didn't write anything down, of course. And there we go. Yeah, I need to get my scheduling ready so that once I finish a show for the week and it's ready to play next week, it reflects that in the checklist so that I don't try to repeat myself. So I'm going to create a checklist with little ticks for each show on my morning show schedule, and then with that it will allow me to make sure that, okay, I've worked on that show's in the can, it's ready to go. Walk away from it. Don't reinvent the wheel, because I have a bad habit of chasing my tail. I get interrupted and I forget where I'm at, and then I wind up recreating entire things, which sometimes it's okay, because then I can just reuse that. I can use that the next week. So let's take a quick break, a little intermission here, so y'all can get out and go to the restroom and the snack bar, and stay away from the arcade. Don't play any video games because you won't make it back in time. All right. I will be back in a minute, so stay tuned.
Like you crave that corn when it's freshly bobbed, you gotta beat it to the box with the butter on the top. Get with it, man, start strolling down to the sweets that you're rolling, the best in town. Our candy's real gone, if I'm understood. To all you squares, that means the confection is positively delicious. Cork that stuff, give me 5, let me send you into this nutty jive. Go, it ain't very far. Shake it on down to this cool snack bar. Come on, Jill, give us a treat. A friendly pepper-upper with a tasty beat.
Drink Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper, 'cause it never lets you down.
Frosty, man, frosty.
Brooke Shields in Holy Terror. Alice was too old to play with dolls and too young to make love. Brooke Shields, as you've never seen her before. She was too beautiful to play with boys and too young to play with men. So Alice began to play with death.
She's made a repeated request that the kid see a psychiatrist. She has a knack of making things look like accidents.
It's dead! It's dead! Ah! It's
No more dolls, no more toys. Alice only plays with bodies. It's too late to save her. A story of unnatural love and unnatural death. Brooke Shields in Holy Terror. It's too late for prayers.
Drink Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper. Hey, that was a scary trailer. That was kind of exorcist-ish. Exorcist-ish, is that a word? Exorcist-ish? Exorcist-ish. Exorcism-ish. That's it. It's exorcism-ish. Kind of a weird, scary flick. I didn't see her doing a whole lot of talking in the trailer, so I'm kind of wondering what that whole movie was about. I actually have some of these movies saved. Of course, that's until my computer decides to delete them. I had them on a thumb drive along with last week's radio show, and I pulled it out of one computer and stuck it in the other, and it was just gone. So I'm hoping I can remedy that, because I won't be creating a whole lot more than commercials and show material for a while until I can get my computer figured out. And it may just be installing some software that helps remedy that situation. Anyway, let me get to the right spot here so I can bring in Brooke Shields again. There she is. All right. So let's get into part 3 of my little monologue here about Brooke Shields. Hollywood's Island Girl and Teen Dream. Yeah, it was great back in the 80s. She just was kind of everywhere, but subtly. Let's step into the movie theater. Well, we're already there. Lights dim, the projector hums, the popcorn is hot, and on the screen appears a sun-drenched island paradise where 2 children grow up alone, surrounded by palm trees, turquoise water, and the mysterious adolescence. The film is Blue Lagoon, released in 1980, and it becomes one of the most talked about movies of the decade. Once again, she's talked about. Brooke Shields stars alongside Christopher Atkins, and together they play 2 castaways who grow from childhood into young adulthood on a deserted island. The film is lush, romantic, and visually stunning, but it's also controversial because, once again, Hollywood is placing Brooke Shields at the center of a story that mixes innocence with sensuality. Now, let's be clear. Body doubles were used for the nude scenes, but audiences didn't always know that. And the marketing didn't exactly go out of their way to clarify that. The result? Another national conversation, another round of debates, another moment where Brooke Shields becomes the focal point of America's complicated feelings about youth, beauty, and sexuality. But here's the thing. The Blue Lagoon was a massive hit. It made money. It made headlines. It made Brooke Shields a bona fide movie star. And it cemented her image as the girl who could carry a film on her shoulders, even at 14. Then came Endless Love in 1981, directed by Franco Zeffirelli, a sweeping melodramatic teen romance about passion, obsession, and heartbreak. Brooke played Jade Butterfield, a young woman caught up in a love affair that burns too hot, too fast, and too dangerously. The film was dramatic, emotional, and filled with the early 80s cinematic intensity that made everything feel bigger than life. Oh my God! Drama, drama, drama! And of course, the theme song, sung by Lionel Richie and Diana Ross, became a #1 hit and one of the most iconic love songs of the decade. Endless Love. Behind the scenes, there were clashes. Terry Shields reportedly argued with Zeffirelli about the film's sexual content. Brooke was still a teenager after all, and the line between art and exploitation was always being tested. But Brooke delivered a performance that audiences connected with. She had vulnerability, she had presence, she had that intangible star quality that made people care. Totally. Totally, man. Totally. Yeah. So we'll take a break in another few minutes and do part 4. By the early 80s, Brooke Shields wasn't just a model. She was a child star. She was a full-fledged Hollywood phenomenon. There's the last page of that one. Brooke Shields. What can you say? You know, she was a phenomenon. She was... I've seen a lot of her interviews during that era, and I remember seeing her on TV news programs, late night TV, and like Ricky Schroeder, she would show up and just be themselves. I remember seeing Ricky Schroeder on The Tonight Show, and he was older than he was. He had and I think Hollywood does that to you, makes you a little older than you are. And Brooke wasn't really like that. She was very in her time. When she was 14, off the set, she was 14. You know, she wasn't trying to fit into these big Hollywood shoes. She was just being herself, and that was very, very cool. That was very, very cool. All right, so I'm not sure who we're going to talk about next week. After I had started having technical difficulties, I kind of went and threw my hands up in the air and walked away from everything. So I do have the entire show planned this week. As soon as I can figure out how to get Wednesday's show from here to there, we'll do that. I don't want to have to reproduce it over there. I don't want to have to do a thumb drive thing. My budget doesn't allow me to keep dealing with technical stuff like this. I can't just run out and buy hard drive after hard drive or thumb drive or a new computer or take this in and have it overhauled. You know, it's a lot of money. So if the show runs into a lot of money, I'm going to think I would prefer to spend the money on trying to create a business like an arcade, and then revisiting this whole project here from that angle with the budget to be able to pull it off, right? Or at least a cool location. Totally. Well, I really hope I don't have to go to the little, the little kiddies room before the show is over. Because that would be a bummer, yeah. It would. It would be a bummer. But we have reached the final part of this morning's 1970s and 80s Brooke Shields retrospective. So that's all we have left is my final one-page monologue here, wrapping things up, and one more break. So there you go. that's how this is going this morning. Yeah, I'm gonna work on that curtain behind me and maybe just get it pleated. I think it'll look good pleated behind me. If I can just pleat it a little, I'll pleat. Then I think it'll work. Totally. Bleep, 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 bleep. Alright. Anywho. I really like doing all of this stuff. I really enjoy it. It's my therapy. It helps me with my depression. Doing all of this stuff, coming here, doing the 2 hours a day helps me to get all of the whatever's in my head, needs to get it out, right? And the other part of the day is filling my head with all of this stuff and creations. And that really, really helps ward off my depression. So when I'm hit with a crossroads where I have to decide, am I going to continue this or not? I have to have something to then throw myself into. One of the things that's coming up that possibly may take over my time a lot could be some work. There are a couple of projects at a couple of the houses that we take care of that may require me to spend a lot of time there. In March, I'm doing a garage sale at one of the houses. Trying to empty out the garage, basically. We've got 2 houses worth of Airbnb furniture and furnishings in one garage. And I've got a few items there as well that I may want to sell if I can get any good money for them. Otherwise, I would prefer to hang on to my stuff because they're my connection to the past. So I'm going to try to gut this garage, getting rid of mattresses and bed frames and tables and chairs and all this. I'm trying to earn a little cash. And as well, I may be hitting up the owner of that house for some side work. So I can try to get a few $100s here, a couple $1,000s there, and try to work toward not just getting my van working, but getting headroad on some kind of arcade deal. And at the same time, I need to focus on creating an inventory for my store selling goods, because inside of my arcade I would have a retail corner where I would be selling old vintage stuff and t-shirts and that kind of stuff for the arcade. Local artists, have them put their projects in there, do like a little commission corner thing. So there's a lot of work to be done. So if I can, and at the same time my daughter's in her last semester of university, which means we have to go down there 4 days a week, twice a day in the morning and twice a day in the evening, or twice a week in the evening and twice a week in the morning. So that's 4 days a week taken away from this and other projects. So it's going to come down to scheduling. What can I do when I'm down there waiting for her? I thought I'm going to have to start playing guitar and singing again because I really enjoy it and I just don't schedule time in to do it. So if I can take my guitar with me and at least once a week take my guitar with me and sit and play and practice and then try to involve that here on the morning show on Fridays. Try to do 1 or 2 songs live on the Friday shows. So I really am at a kind of a crossroads of what to do, how to continue this season, and continue working on projects that I've set myself up for this year. And it's really difficult. It's challenging. Really, really challenging. Because I'm always pulled in so many directions. And it's not like I have a busy life. It's not like I have this overly scheduled world that I live in. I answer, first and foremost, I answer to my pain and all that entails. And that slows me down a lot. And then second, I answer to my depression. And then unfortunately, my family comes third. So I try to rise above the pain and depression and put my family first. But that comes and goes. Some days I'm in the kitchen and I'm making dinner and I'm getting shit done and cleaning the house, and then other days I just sit there and go, oh, poor me. And then that's all I can do. So I really am juxtaposed again betwixt and between all of these different elements in my life that cause me to not really get anywhere, you know. And that sucks. That sucks. And it looks like I am going to have to get up and use the restroom this morning. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully I will have enough time during this break. If not, you may be left with black screen here for a few minutes. Okay? So bear with me until I get back. Yeah, please. So I will take off here, and I will be back in just a few minutes. All right.
We have just seen rushes direct from Hollywood of pictures being released in the coming weeks. And we are proud to announce that this theater will soon bring you the greatest array of pictures ever to reach our screen. You'll see the finest stars in exciting performances. You'll thrill to the suspense, comedy, romance, and drama of world-famous stories. Here's a glimpse of a few of them coming to this theater soon.
She started in the comics.
I've had it. So bug off, Buster.
Yes, Brenda! Now she's jumped to the front page.
What was that?
Just the biggest story since the atomic bomb.
But the story isn't the only thing on her mind.
Hello?
In the last 24 hours, she's been kidnapped.
Forget it, sister. I'll be back.
Shot at.
Catch her!
Hijacked.
Take us to the Amazon. The horses goes extra.
Tortured.
Jeepers!
And fed to piranhas.
Oh, no.
She's much more than a woman.
Hello.
Much more than your average reporter.
Get me the White House, please. Are you okay?
Much more than any man could handle.
What do they want?
You. She's a star.
Here's to the star.
Brenda Starr, Brooke Shields,
I'm ready.
and Timothy Dalton in Brenda Starr.
Right, and we are back, people. I made it to the little boy's room and safely made it back in time. So we're going to finish up this morning's discussion here on Brooke Shields and then kind of continue on with talking about the morning show and its longevity, its possibilities, and so let's continue on with our topic: artist, actress for the day. One of my favorite, Brooke Shields. Okay, the Princeton years and the legacy of an icon. Now we arrive at the final chapter of Brooke Shields in the 70s and 80s, that journey. A chapter that surprised everyone because in 1983, at the height of her fame, Brooke Shields did something almost unheard of for a teen superstar. She went to college. Not just any college, Princeton University. Imagine the scene, a campus filled with Ivy League covered buildings, students carrying stacks of books, professors strolling across the quad, and in the middle of it all, one of the most famous young women in the world, trying to blend in, trying to be normal, trying to be a student. That wasn't easy. The press followed her. Photographers camped outside classrooms. Reporters tried to interview her between lectures, but Brooke Shields was determined. She majored in Romance languages. She studied, she wrote papers, she took exams, she lived in a dorm, she ate in the cafeteria. She tried, as best she could, to carve out a life that wasn't defined by cameras and controversy. And in doing so, she changed her image. She went from being the girl in the Calvin Klein ads to being a young woman seeking knowledge, independence, and identity. She showed the world that she wasn't just a face. She wasn't just a symbol. She was a person, smart, thoughtful, and capable of steering her own life. By the late 1980s, Brooke had become something rare, a former child star who survived the spotlight and didn't burn out. She didn't disappear. She didn't become a cautionary tale. Instead, she evolved, she matured. She grew into herself. And her legacy? It's complicated. It's fascinating. And it's uniquely American. Brooke Shields was a mirror of her times. In the 1970s, she reflected a nation wrestling with changing ideas about childhood and adulthood. In the 1980s, she embodied the glamour, excess, and contradictions of a decade obsessed with fame. She sparked debates. She inspired admiration. She provoked criticism. But above it all, she endured. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of Brooke Shields in the 1970s and 80s. A story of ambition, controversy, beauty, resilience, and the strange, shimmering power of celebrity. Brooke Shields. Still kicking ass. Kicking ass and taking names, man. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. So I'm open for discussion on Brooke Shields if anyone is there and wants to talk. Otherwise, I'm just kind of hanging out, trying to figure out my place in the world and my place on YouTube and what it all means to me. I think to my family it means that I'm not depressed and I'm happy and I'm talkative and I got things going on, and to me it means the same thing. It keeps me from losing my mind. I did medication for years, and it wasn't me. It took me away from me. I became some kind of flat, one-dimensional reflection of who I am. And I finally got off of that, and then it took me a decade to figure out how to rebound from that. And at the same time, dealing with new pain from a work injury. And then several years ago got hit with another injury in a car accident. And that shocked. Let's see, 119. I gotta make sure to date my shows here so that I know what's going on. So far I have nobody in the cast. Nobody showed up this morning, so I have any cast members to write down. Oh wait, that's tomorrow. See, I do that. Let's get rid of that 19 that I just wrote down on tomorrow's thing there. Oh, did I just use up the last of my... Yeah, I did. I just used up the last of my whiteout. Doesn't that just beat old, yeah? So there. That does another actor, actress / artist of the day. Another show in the can. The shows will get tighter. They'll get better. They'll get more, what you call it, better. I had thought about on Mondays reading movie monologues, movie script bits, right? But that would cause me to have to sift through stuff and come up with those and then get it on paper. Now I can do that. I can send my assistant to go hunt all of that stuff down, my unpaid intern assistant, to hunt all of that stuff down for me and give it to me in a paper form so that it's easier for me to deal with. And I thought about getting a tablet and having everything put onto a tablet that I read. But one of the things about having a kind of a retrofied vintage type show is that I want things on paper so that I have my news stories or whatnot, my copy on paper like the old days, and I can turn the pages and kind of turn back the pages of time. With every little nuance of my show, I'm trying to give you a time adventure. You know, I know that on a Monday morning, I really don't have my act together, but I think that's why this whole loose format works good on Mondays, and on Fridays it's even looser. There's no overlays, there's no weird graphics. It's just me and the studio and the microphones and the whatnot and the who's it's. And kind of a wrap-up of the week. So there's that. Tomorrow is Totally Television Tuesday. We are going to see commercials and news breaks with a lot of Brooke Shields. I've actually dug up some interviews of young Brooke Shields when she was on break from school working at the San Diego Zoo. Interviews of her doing junkets for her movie Blue Lagoon. So as well, we are going to be talking tomorrow extensively about toxic shock syndrome. I'm sorry. That is Thursday's show. Thursday we're going to be talking about toxic shock syndrome. Tuesday is the news. I've got 14 news stories, and we have Brooke Shields and some Brooke Shields news stories and that stuff there. Thursday's show, we will be talking about toxic shock syndrome and a few other little peripheral topics. Something that's really stuck with me when I was young, which is kind of unusual for a guy to be kind of concerned about toxic shock syndrome when I really didn't have any women in my life that were ultra important. I just felt that it was kind of an affront to consumers that there would be products out there that were just so unsafe. And coming from a David Horowitz upbringing, it pissed me off to find out that they just let stuff out on the market that could kill you. And then I would really pay attention to recalls and consumer alerts about products that could harm you, harm your kids, you know. So Thursdays is where we're kind of be at with that. But tomorrow we've got a whole lot of news coming to you tomorrow. Let me kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. We are going to be talking about news stories with the president. We are going to be talking about business news stories, bankruptcies, and world news, and social impact stuff, crashes and earthquakes, and product launches, TV show premieres, and that kind of stuff from the 70s and 80s, of course. So that's going to be tomorrow. Wednesday, I have such a great show picked out for Wednesday. I've selected some great music, some great old-time commercials, some great Wolfman Jack stuff. And we're going to talk about Wolfman Jack big time. And we're going to do some weird news. And we're going to start the Grateful Dedications deal. So I will be taking requests for Grateful Dedications. And I think what I need to do is I need to come up with a neon sign that I can hang in the window that has the call now stuff. There we go. Okay, that's a good idea, because I've got the radio booth window, and I don't want to just like stick a graphic there somewhere. So what I'll probably do is I'll come up with some neon light signs, and then turn them into a PNG, which is I don't know what that means, but it means that I can use it with no background, just the graphic itself, and then hang it there like it's hanging in midair. And I think if I do that with a couple of neon signs in the booth of the radio station on the glass, it's going to give us a sense of realism. But I can also hang graphics then, you know. So I may do I'm definitely going to do a neon sign that has a kind of a call now or a Grateful Dedications line. You know, 555 call now, the bogus number that I use. So we'll use that. And yeah, this week we're talking about Wolfman Jack on the radio Wednesday, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Because I learn a great deal. I'm not just reading this, but I'm learning about everything right along with you. When I have to do the research, when I have to do the gathering of the elements, it's all a learning process. Sure, it goes into the factory, and it goes into the formatting so that it becomes a show. But I have to learn all this stuff. I have to read all of this stuff, and it goes into my head. And now I know about Brooke Shields. Last week I learned about Jackie Earle Haley. In lieu of reading a biography book or an autobiography, I get to do this, you know. And I do have some autobiographies back here, and I'm probably going to do some of the people that I've read about. But yeah, on Wednesdays we're just doing radio-related stories. A monologue on Wolfman Jack this week on Wednesday. Last week we did B. Mitchell Reed, BMR from KMET. We'll do radio stations. We'll do DJs. We'll do morning show stuff. Whatever we can dig up that's kind of radio related. We're going to do that. We're pretty much going to concentrate on DJs and radio stations of the past. And that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, we've got further shows coming up. Where's my Post-its here? I got Post-its, I think, down in here. Alan Freed, there's one that we're going to do. Alan Freed. And a bunch of the KMET DJs from the past. And a bunch of the KLOS DJs from the past. And K-Earth and KFI and KNX. And all of the stuff that we heard on the radio, right? Just like Totally Television Tuesday, we get to kind of go back into TV. On Thursdays, we get to kind of talk about topics in depth. Tuesdays, we got a great news program where we can talk about news from the past. Fridays is my day to kind of wrap it all up and hang out and talk about what we've talked about throughout the week, and get into how it works with how I grew up in my past and everything. Why does it mean anything to me? I may wind up getting a small, little cheap little microphone, headphone thing that I can plug into my phone and record things. So that I can record promos and breaks and stuff in the car while I'm just sitting there. And I can just sit and I can jot stuff down and then just record it. And then I can take those files, send them to my computer, and then edit them and make audio stuff. Copy for a intro or outro for a visual show like this. And now, ladies and gentlemen, presenting your host, Dipshit. Stuff like that. Announcer, narrator type stuff. I'd like to come up with commercials for the radio and do my own commercials, and then just write the text and do the text and read it into a microphone, record it, and then add whatever nuances need to be added to make it a commercial. Some boings and some zips and some theme music and sound effects and whatnot. That'll be fun. I'd also like to, did I say commercials? Funny commercials on stuff. That's going to be the fun stuff. Making products, creating new products like Fuck It All. I take Fuck It All twice a day because it helps me fuck it all. That kind of shit. Weird, stupid stuff. And then starting to create commercials for the TV shows, the video. Maybe for a show like this morning, we'll create a movie trailer for a movie that doesn't exist, right? And that's a matter of me shooting a little bit of video and then adding a bunch of video together that makes sense and creating a trailer, right? A little 60-second, 90-second trailer about a movie. The Beast on the couch, and then have, my dog do a bunch of stuff. Rawr. Sure. Okay, so we're going to wrap things up this morning. This morning has kind of been a lull because I didn't get enough coffee this morning. Sure, blame it on the coffee. And I'm still trying to get into the timing of this morning's show. This morning is kind of the hardest one to figure out the timing on. So I think the best thing to do is come up with more elements for this morning's show. So I think we're going to add movies to this morning's show as far as topics, and we'll add 4 movies, and we'll increase the amount of breaks that we have to kind of fill in some of that dead air, some of those lulls. Lull. Well, I don't know what to say. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'm kind of a weird guy, I guess. I don't know why I really took a shine to doing YouTube, because I've always been an introvert, and really highly introverted extrovert. And it's like when I come out of my shell, I'm out of my shell, but I don't stay out long. And this show has kept me out of my shell a lot over the last couple of years, and I'm really, really happy about that. So I don't want this whole YouTube thing to go away, because I don't want the depression to come back. I don't want the whole, woe is me crap to come back into my life. I'm gonna have to get to the store and get a few things. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need some paper and some ink. I need new pens. I need whiteout. There you go. And I'm going to try to avoid getting a thumb drive until I can get to the Geek Squad and find out what it is I'm going to need to get those files moved. Figuring that hard drive is going to be dead. Unless they say they can fix it. Well, then fix that external hard drive, put the stuff back on there, and then I'll get another hard drive or something to then back it up on, and then bring it home and put one of those hard drives on a computer and back it up on the cloud, a third way. But I don't want to plug the only hard drive with the only copy into the computer without having a secondary backup just in case. So it's going to be a hell of a journey here in the next few weeks, trying to figure out what to do about my shows. And it just may be that I'm going to put everything on hiatus for a couple, 2-3 weeks. I really wanted this year to have more shows than ever, and right now I'm going backwards big time. So I don't know, I don't know. I think the last thing to do on this show here is to close. That's about it. Yeah, because we done the last commercial break, intermission, and we've wrapped up our story about Brooke Shields, and we've used our graphics, so that means that everything in this show here is going to get dumped into another used file until I get around to deleting used stuff and separating it from stuff that I want to reuse. And I'll put it into a recycle file where when I'm short of commercial breaks for something, I can pull it out and use it. I think that'll be helpful. I'm going to need to get binders as well, and I'll have my wife keep her eyes open, as will I and my daughter, for a used file cabinet. What did I say before file cabinet? Binders. Binders. File cabinet. There we go. It's a little shopping list there of things that I can't afford to buy for my show. I guess if I do continue my show, I'll go and buy those things. I know the whiteout we definitely need, and the paper and the ink. But that pretty much wraps up the show for this morning. So I want to thank you again for joining me. Be sure to spread peace and love, and be kind to each other. Do something for yourself, but do something for somebody else too. Why? Because you can. Makes you feel good, makes somebody else feel good, makes the world a better place, makes you a better person. All right? Most especially, stay weird, because if you ain't weird, ain't nobody going to be weird for you. You got to do it yourself. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the effort. Go out into the world and be nice to people. Do something nice for somebody. That's weird. They'll freak out. They'll be like, oh my God, this guy's weird. All right? All right, people, take care of yourselves. Love you. Adios. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Bye now. And, oh yeah, that's right. Adios.